You're watching KSL Sports Live.
Hi, friends. Happy holidays. Thanks for including us in your busy weekend plans for this edition of KSL Sports Live. You know, for the first time ever, conference championship games in college football, they mean something. Today, it means a spot in the college football championships. Would it be Iowa State or Arizona State? We'll have that and a look at the SEC championship game between Georgia and Texas coming up. But today, we also have a day on the ice. For the third weekend in a row, the Utah Hockey Club is playing games on back-to-back days, both on the road in this case. It's a current stretch that sees Utah playing 7 of 9 away from home. Today's opponent, they haven't taken advantage of their home ice, though. They've lost 5 in a row, 4 of those at home. That opponent, well, that was the Buffalo Sabres. The puck dropped at 11 this morning in Buffalo as the Hockey Club faced the Sabres for the first time this season. Utah seemed to be out to a great start in this one. Nick Schmaltz flipping in the rebound. But hold on, after review, Barrett Hayton called for goaltender interference, and the goal is disallowed. Later in the period, still scoreless, it's Buffalo getting out in front. Tyson Kozak. His first career goal gives Buffalo the 1-0 lead. Karel Vejmelka, he really buckled down the rest of the period, though. 3 saves to end the period, including a penalty kill. Utah was down 1-0 after one period. Now, Utah would respond with a strong second period, and that response, it paid off. 3 minutes into the period, Michael Kesselring able to keep the puck in the zone. Barrett Hayton collects, dishes back to Kesselring. He hits the back of the net, tying the game up at 1. This is the 100th career game of Kesselring's career. Just 20 seconds later, Utah does it again. Michael Carcone gets pushed into Buffalo's goalie, but because he was pushed, this one is not interference, and Mikhail Sergachev takes advantage for the 2-1 lead. At the halfway point in the period, Kesselring, watch him get smashed into the boards here. That's a clean hit in hockey, but he still takes exception to it, and well, they drop the gloves. A moment later, they throw some punches. The fist fight is on. Then in the final minute of the period, Nick Schmaltz, he's on some kind of heater lately, scores his 4th goal in the last 3 games. Guess who's on the assist here? It was Michael Kesselring. So he has a goal, an assist, and a fight in the same game. That's what's called a Gordie Howe hat trick in the NHL, and that is the first in Utah Hockey Club history. So Utah takes their 3-1 lead into the final period of play, and they continue cooking on the ice. 2 minutes into the period, Jack McBain on a great pass from Logan Cooley. That's his 9th goal of the season. The wrister builds Utah's lead to 4-1. Guess what? They're still not done. Only Mata to Kevin Stenlund off the pipe for the 5-1 advantage. Utah picks up a big road win over the Buffalo Sabres. 5-2 the final from Buffalo. Utah has scored 22 goals over the past 5 road games. Karel Vejmelka saved 23 of 25 shots. 12 different Utah players recorded a point in this game. And a way too early wild card look, but Utah's 26 points is just 4 behind Edmonton for the second wild card spot in the West.
It's good. Obviously, it's good for the confidence. I felt like we've played good the last 5 or 6 games now, so keeping the momentum going.
When we play with that kind of a pace, when we play as well with the puck, we made a lot of good play. We used the width of the ice, and we went at the net. So I said it for the last 10 games. I think we're playing good hockey. I think even if we don't have the result all the time we wish to have, but I think we're playing a really good hockey. I think for today, until the game was tight, I think we played rock solid.
All right, now to this huge Saturday in college football. You know, in this era of college football, the 12-team playoff era, the top 5 ranked conference champions all get an automatic spot in the playoff, regardless of ranking. Iowa State is ranked 16th. Arizona State is ranked 15th. They're both out of the top 12, but the winner of this would still go to the playoffs as a top 5 conference champ. Arizona State last won a conference title as co-champs of the Pac-10 in 2007. Iowa State's last conference title was 1912 as a member of the MVIAA, which later became the Big 8 and now the Big 12. Second quarter, ASU's Cam Skattebo doing what he's done all year, bouncing off several defenders, a 47-yard gain. Then Skattebo takes it in for the touchdown. It's a 17-10 lead. Skattebo with another big run up the middle. This one is going to go for chunk yardage in the tune of 53 yards down into the red zone. Skattebo would cap off the drive. Yes, he's eaten a 2-yard touchdown. He had 140 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half, 24-10. Third quarter, watch Xavier Gilroy reaching back, making an incredible catch for the 21-yard touchdown. Then Sam Levitt to Skattebo, 33-yard touchdown. My goodness, what a game he had. Arizona State dominates They are the Big 12 champion, 45-19. Scadaboo finished with 170 yards, 16 carries, 3 touchdowns. We also have some Saturday afternoon MACtion today. The MAC championship between Ohio and Miami University. Second quarter, right before halftime, Ohio's Parker Navarro finds the tight end Mason Williams for the 21-yard touchdown, 21-3 Ohio. Then in the third quarter, Navarro scrambling to his right connects with Coleman Owen for a 25-yard score. It's a 28-3 lead. They are dominating. Fourth quarter, Anthony Tyus breaks free for a 21-yard touchdown run. That seals the game. Ohio wins the MAC championship 38-3. Something to celebrate for the Ohio Bobcats. All right, the Running Utes are out to a 6-1 start this season on the basketball court. That's their best start in 7 years. But those 6 wins have all come against teams ranked 192 or worse in the net rankings. They're all quad 4 contests. Well, today, a chance to add a quad 1 win to the resume. Big opportunity as Utah hosts St. Mary's, who is 8-1 and 34th in the net rankings. First half, Utah down 7. Mason Madsen, the triple. 14-10, St. Mary's with the lead. Now Lawson Lovering trying to work down low. Can't find an opening, but does find Keanu Dawes, who throws down the big slam dunk. But St. Mary's is a tough team, getting the tough and one down inside. The next play, Jordan Ross fights off the defender, gets another bucket and the foul. The Gales currently leading the Utes at halftime, 39-22. We'll see if the Running Utes can't turn things around here in the second half. All right, also on the court, the 8-2 Southern Utah Thunderbirds facing the Arizona Wildcats. Tavi Jackson hits the 3 for the first points of the game. It's a 3-0 SUU lead, but of course we know it's all Arizona after that pretty much. Javier Simpson makes the 3-pointer there. Or Jameer Simpson. Arizona would then start to run away with this one, though. Caleb Love finds Krivas for the easy dunk. Jameer Simpson would hit another 3. Simpson would finish with a team-high 21 for SUU, but Arizona would win this one easily, 102-66. SUU now 8-3 on the season. They play New Mexico State next week. How about Utah Valley? They were also on the road, taking on James Madison. UVU's Dominic Nelson from downtown, giving the Wolverines an early lead. Cyrus Grady would then hit the 3. He would finish with a team-high 12 points, but James Madison would take control here. Bryce Lindsey makes the 3 for a 42-25 lead. Second half, UVU trying to mount a comeback. Hayden Welling for 3. Then Kylan Green, the jumper. UVU's down 11. But that would be about as close as they get. The Dukes begin to pull away. Utah Valley falls on the road, 78-61. They face North Dakota next week. What is in the water up in Logan? They have an eye for great basketball coaching talent, and once again, the new head coach at Utah State has the Aggies off to a red-hot start. 8 games, 8 wins to start the Jared Calhoun era. And they're the highest-ranked team in the state by almost 50 spots in the net rankings. Utah State picked up win number 8 at the Spectrum on Wednesday night, a rare early December conference game against Wyoming. In the win, Ian Martinez eclipsed 1,000 points for his career. He finished the game with 23 points, while Mason Falsleff added 19 points on 8 of 15 shooting. With each early season win, the bar is being raised higher and higher for this Aggie team.
We can't get tired of winning. You know, it's going to be difficult like we saw tonight. So as we get into more conference games, we just got to keep doing the little things.
What is it that's been working so well through these first 8 games? It seems like every game we see you guys play, there's the next step of the progression, of the whole process.
I think we're just, it's all about our chemistry as a team. We all get along. We're all really good friends off and on the court. So I think that has a big thing to do with it.
College basketball's insane, right? There's 2,000 to 2,500 transfers every year. You're paying players. Kids are transferring. I mean, there's guys tonight that are on their 4th and 5th school, right? So I think what we've been able to do is attract really good kids. When they put the Aggie uniform on, it really means something.
Do you feel like you guys are starting to make an early statement in the conference that you guys are the team to beat?
Obviously we won it last year, so people are going to be looking out for us. But, I'm excited. Conference play it's always hard, and it's always physical, and I'm excited for it to come.
I'm excited to keep watching this Aggie team play. Well, how about another top 25 matchup this afternoon? Number 11, Wisconsin. Number 5, Marquette. First half, Stevie Mitchell, the three, gives Marquette the 2-point lead. Then in the second half, Chase Ross, the steal, coast to coast. He wanted the dunk, but changed his mind to that midair layup. Marquette's Cam Jones had 32 points. He takes the sidestep three and the foul. Shades of old D. Wade at Marquette, right? Marquette bounces back after suffering their first loss of the season. All right, only one football team in the state is going bowling this season. The other two FBS teams, they're already reworking the coaching staff. Utah hiring its new offensive coordinator this week, and a familiar face comes back to Utah as a head coach. Bronco Mendenhall headed to Logan. Utah State's athletic director Diana Sabo talks exclusively with KSL Sports about that hire coming up. And the Jazz win by 42 points last night in Portland. What's going on? Walker Kessler did something that only Victor Wembanyama has done all season. I'll show you what that is next. For the SEC championship game, it came down between Georgia and Texas. Third quarter, Georgia starting quarterback Carson Beck is injured in the second quarter, comes back up Gunnar Stockton here, who finds Lawson Lucky, makes the amazing catch, staying in bounds. That would lead to a 10-yard touchdown run by Trevor Etienne. Bulldogs lead 10-6. Texas down 13-6 when Quinn Ewers finds DeAndre Moore Jr., breaks free for the 41-yard score. The game is tied at 13. Fourth quarter, Georgia up 3 when Stockton overthrows his receiver into the hands of Texas for the interception. That would set up the game-tying field goal by Burt Auburn, and we are headed to overtime. In OT, after a Texas field goal, Georgia knocking on the door, Etienne punching it in for the game-winning touchdown. Georgia is the SEC champion. They beat the Longhorns 22-19. They will have one of those top 4 seeds in the playoff. All right, with the surprise coaching change made just a month before kickoff, the Utah State football season seemed destined to fail. It wasn't easy, winning just 4 games, but now the future may be brighter than it has ever been before. The school announcing the hiring of Bronco Mendenhall to take over as the new head football coach on a 6-year deal. Mendenhall, the 31st head coach in program history, comes to Utah State as one of the most experienced and successful head coaches to enter his first year with the school. With 18 total seasons between BYU, Virginia, and New Mexico, Mendenhall has won 140 career games to just 88 losses. That's 62%. Diana Sabo, the athletic director at Utah State, cited Mendenhall's leadership, knowledge, and development of young men as his strength that he brings to Logan.
Bronco Mendenhall develops young men. He has proven leaders throughout his program. He stood out and he became a differentiator of developing young men, of his academic success, and quite frankly, his ability to take programs and to mold and craft them into ideal programmatic systems. So coming home for him to the state of Utah is the perfect fit for him.
Bronco will be replacing Nate Dreiling, who served the past season as interim head coach and was the youngest head coach in college football this past season. So what's next for Dreiling, who has spent also 2 seasons at New Mexico State as defensive coordinator? Well, we don't have an answer for that just yet, but today on social media, Dreiling did make this post thanking USU and the Cache Valley community, saying, quote, "What a special place you all have, and want to wish you all the best moving forward." At about the same time that the first reports of Bronco heading to Logan were coming in, the announcement from the University of Utah was made that Bronco's offensive coordinator at New Mexico, Jason Beck, would be the one to take on that same role at the U. Utah had a vacancy at offensive coordinator after Andy Ludwig resigned mid-season. Jason Beck, a former BYU quarterback and BYU quarterback's coach, has served as a coach at Virginia and Syracuse as well. In 2023, as the Syracuse offensive coordinator, his team averaged 343 yards and 24.5 points per game. Last season at New Mexico, the Lobos offense averaged 484 total yards and 33.5 points per game. He certainly has the resume for a position like this at Utah. His coaching career started as a quarterback coach for Weber State and then BYU. Then he followed Mendenhall to Virginia, where he was the quarterback coach through 2021. In 22, he left for Syracuse as quarterback's coach and then was elevated to offensive coordinator in 2023. He spent last season as the OC at New Mexico. Now, before all of that, Beck was, as I mentioned, the backup quarterback at BYU from 2004 to 2006. He had one career start. It was against Utah State in 2006, completing 20 of 28 passes for 305 yards and his only career touchdown, a connection with Johnny Harline. Beck to Harline. just the other Beck, right? An 18-yard pass and a 38-0 win. All right, BYU, they greatly exceeded expectations this season on the football field. A 10-2 record with a bowl game still to come. Utah, on the other hand, well, they had a very underwhelming season that saw them lose 7 in a row. Still, both schools were recognized pretty well on the All-Big 12 teams that were announced this week. The Utes had 2 named to the All-Big 12 first team. Tight end Brant Keithy and lineman Spencer Fano were given that honor. Defensive lineman Van Fillinger and punter Jack Bomeister, they were named to the second team. As for the Cougars, BYU kicker Will Farron was named the Co-Big 12 Special Teams Player of the Year. Farron made 21 of 24 field goals this season. It was a perfect 38 for 38 on extra points. 2 other players received first-team All-Big 12 recognition with Farron, lineman Caleb Etienne and defensive end Tyler Batty. Keelan Marion and Jacob Robinson were both named to the second team. Quarterback Jake Retzlaff was one of multiple honorable mentions. You can see that complete list over at KSLSports.com. The Mountain West Conference also posted their postseason awards on Tuesday. The Utah State Aggies had 8 players recognized despite that 4-8 record. 3 Aggies were named second team all-conference. Receiver Jalen Royals, running back Razul Faison, and defensive end Kean Sloan were all on that list. Spencer Petras, Jordan Vincent, and Gabriel Iniguez Jr. and Teague Anderson were named all-conference honorable mention. All right, back to the basketball court. The Utah Jazz, they're going to have some painful moments throughout this season as they continue their rebuild. That is expected. What's not expected this season, 42-point wins on the road, but that's what they delivered last night in Portland. The Jazz dominated this game from start to finish, shooting 55% from the floor, 43% from three-point range, and 91% from the free throw line. Just the 40th 50-40-90 game by the Jazz in their franchise history. John Collins led the Jazz starters with 20 points, which included some emphatic dunks, and Johnny Juzang scored a team-high 22 off the bench. 9 different players scored in double figures for the Jazz. That is the first time in the 51-season history of the Utah Jazz that has happened in a game. Also in the game, Walker Kessler showed us just how dominant of a post player he is becoming. Kessler already leads the league with 15-point, 10-rebound, 5-block games this season. Although he was 2 points short of that on Friday, he still finished with 13 points, 17 rebounds, and 5 blocks. Kessler and Victor Wembanyama are the only players with a 10-point, 15-rebound, 5-block game this season.
My teammates are finding me in the right spots. I'm getting easy buckets and trying to be aggressive on the glass.
Walker in particular was really active on the glass. There were other guys that crashed, and maybe he's the beneficiary of some of those plays as well, but Walker continues to find ways to impact the game outside of plays being called for him, which doesn't happen very often.
Now, the Delta Center is going to be a little quiet this month. The Jazz are just 2 games into a long stretch where 8 of 9 games are being played on the road. They'll be in Sacramento tomorrow, then back home for the Suns on Friday, then Christmas away from Utah with games against the Clippers, Pistons, Nets, Cavs, and Blazers, all of which will be on the road. All right, speaking of the Cavs, they were in Charlotte today facing the Hornets. Evan Mobley dominated the Hornets in the first quarter. He made 9 of 10 shots, 5 of those three-pointers. He had scored 23 points just in the first quarter to the Hornets' 18. The Cavs wrote 40-18 after one. In the second quarter, with the clock expiring, Donovan Mitchell would beat the Horn on the step-back 3. Mobley had a career-high 41. Donovan, 18 points, 8 boards, and 8 assists, and the Cavs win. All right, did you know that BYU is the only unseeded women's volleyball team to ever reach the national championship game? That was in 2014. How far could the Cougars go this year, and as well as the Utes, as the NCAA tournament began for them? I'll show you that, and the MLS Cup final between the Galaxy and the Red Bulls. Plenty of goals scored in the first half, but who walked away with the hardware? We'll show you next. Season came down to the East Coast against the West Coast. It's New York versus LA. It doesn't get any bigger than this. The Galaxy taking on the Red Bulls for the MLS Cup in the 9th minute. LA. The through ball up to Joseph Paintsil just gets it under the keeper. Galaxy's up 1-0. Just 4 minutes later, Dejan Jovelic, an impressive goal as he's falling down, sneaks it into the net. LA was up 2-0. But trouble for the Galaxy in the 28th minute. They can't clear this ball, and Sean Nellis gets one back for the Red Bulls. Unfortunately, that was the only goal they got back. LA They are the MLS Cup champions. Get ready for that big parade. What was Utah football legend Steve Smith doing with this tennis racket? It might surprise you. It's coming up next. Says goodnight with this must-see video. Utah football legend Steve Smith, a guest at the Charlotte Invitational this weekend, and for a moment was given a tennis racket, going one-on-one with French Open champ Carlos Alcaraz. And check it out. Steve looks like he's holding his own. Alcaraz, of course, was taking it easy, but Smith has that nice backhand with the backspin, and he almost got the point. Oh, my gosh. So close against Carlos Alcaraz. Hey, Steve is still one of the GOATs at wide receiver in the NFL. Hall of Famer, what an outstanding football player and tennis player, apparently. You know what else is outstanding? The KSL Sports app. If you don't have it now, then I don't know what to tell you. You better get it, where you can listen live to Jazz and Utah Hockey Club games and stay up to date on all your Utes, Cougars, and Aggies, too. We'll see you at 9.